Hello everyone, welcome to Developing Writing Tutors. This is a course offered by the Sept Writing Center and it's meant for tutors who are interested in writing, who want to bring writing to disciplines of design and the built environment, people who may have experience or may not, people who might join new courses or studios as TAs, teaching associates, teaching assistants, academic associates. If you know you're likely to ask your students to write something, maybe you love writing, maybe you're afraid that they're not going to love it as much, clearly this course is for you. Welcome and let's get started. I am Katrin Aldunka and I have been teaching writing in various places for a number of years, except in particular since 2018. I have over the years met students at all levels. I have met research scholars and I have talked to a number of faculty members, people from backgrounds in literature and in social sciences like mine, but also people with backgrounds in architecture who nevertheless believe that it's important for their students to be able to communicate, to be able to articulate in writing, to use words effectively in order to think, in order to clarify their own understanding, their own concepts, their own design processes. This course was born out of many conversations that my colleague Soumya and I have had with tutors and with students over the years. Some of them have been experiences in which students who thought they could not write ended up surprising us and writing narratives, writing text that has a voice of its own, that has a style, that has the ability to communicate beautifully, and in that surprising themselves as well. Other conversations have been with faculty members because over the years, as we have taught reading objects, writing craft, as we have taught writing the city at the postgraduate level, we realized that we needed to include more and more teachers into a way of thinking about writing that goes beyond asking students to produce a certain genre that they may or may not be familiar with into a mode where we facilitate a process of discovery.
I teach reading objects writing craft. This is part of CFP, SEP Foundation program for undergrad students. The whole process of writing, especially because I teach undergrad students first semester, I meet them in the first semester. So the change that I can see and I'm privileged to see in not just the way they are writing, but also the way they start thinking through things as part of the course within 3 months is phenomenal.
That is why what this course draws on is experience working with faculty and with students in the disciplines of design and the built environment to understand what the needs are, to understand what architects and designers need to write, what urban planners need to write, and how they need to write it. And to be able to define these requirements clearly so that they can be communicated, so that the writers themselves are aware of what is required. But at the same time, this course draws on our experience as teachers. And as the other concern with writing, with the process itself, and with teaching it, comes from the backgrounds that Soumya and I both bring to it, backgrounds in literature and in the social sciences. And in my case, a background in queer theory and in queer activism and feminism, which are things that reflect very deeply in writing. Because writing does not come only from the ability to conceptualize, but it also comes from our environment, from the kind of confidence that our position in the world gives us.
Part of
And as
one of the things that I do here at CEPT is also CEPT has MOUs with different universities, and they have taken the same course curriculum of CFP. So I am fortunate enough to actually meet different tutors from different universities and institutes and help them adapt the same pedagogy, which comes with their own challenges because we have a set system here where we rely a lot on technology, on Wi-Fi access, and uh, a certain kind of way of working that the students have because of the institute ethos. but this doesn't necessarily translate easily in other institutes. So in last 3 years I have worked with some 4 or 5 different institutes and help tutors adopt the same pedagogy.
The workshop this time is hybrid. That means that a lot of it is going to be asynchronous. This is motivated by our realization, our understanding that even though many of us are interested in these conversations, we very often don't have time for them. It is really difficult to take 1 week at a time or a couple of weeks at a time to devote to this kind of reflecting, thinking through our practices, and it might actually be easier and more conducive for most of us to be able to engage with one question at a time, one module at a time, online at our own pace. Some of us may work at night, some of us might find some time during the day, whatever works for you. A second component of the course is going to be conducted on campus or in some form of meeting so that we're able to talk to each other. That's going to be a more practical, more hands-on moment in the course, which does not mean that the rest of the course is not hands-on. The modules that you will find on the Google Classroom are all intended to take you through small questions that all of us pose to ourselves at various points in the process of teaching. They're questions about what can be taught, what we need to know, what we need to update ourselves about, but there are also questions about how we strategize. Because of the diversity of topics, of content that we're going to cover, it is very likely that some aspects will be more familiar to you than others. We request you to please go through the modules in the sequence in which they appear. That is important because they build on each other. We do understand that for some of you, it might take less time to go through some of them because you already know them, while others might take longer. The modules give you various stop points where you can take small little quizzes to test your own understanding. We'll talk about how these quizzes have been designed and what they mean for a learner and whether or not you can use them in your own teaching practice at a later point once we start talking about pedagogy. Yeah. For now, let's get started.